Welcome to Making MarTech, where we spotlight innovative MarTech companies and leaders who are driving growth, highlighting valuable insights and actionable strategies to stay ahead in this industry. Today, we're here with Greg Williams, founder and CEO of Swagger. Hey, Greg, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So let's start off with you. Can you introduce yourself? Who are you?
My name's Greg Williams. I live in Portland, Oregon. I am a half a century old and I am a serial entrepreneur.
Awesome. And can you tell us a bit more about your background?
Yeah, I started out of high school. I joined the military and went overseas and did some really fun, crazy, stupid stuff. And then came back a man and went to college and played a lot of soccer and had fun. And then realized that college just wasn't for me on an academic level. I was just antsy all the time and I just wanted to move forward faster, faster, faster. And so I dropped out. I think I have like 9 or 10 credits left. I'm not even sure. And I decided that I was going to do something. I didn't know what it was. Someone said real estate was fun and there was a job opening. I went to an interview. I didn't even know what a mortgage was at the time. I had to actually look it up and I read a bunch of stuff the night before and memorized it and got a job. And I was a mortgage broker. And within 3 months, out of 502 loan officers back in the mid 90s, I think there were 502 loan officers in the company. And I was ranked number 3. And I had a gentleman named Eli Marino who had come to me and had a very checkered past when it came to real estate, but he had a lot of assets. And I just started closing loans and doing all these things for him. And I made a fortune at 25 years old. And I'm just like, wow. And of course, I went and bought an M3 BMW. That was the first thing. I was a kid.
Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. So one day, Mr. Marino had called me over to his house, and I'm thinking, great, more loans, more money. And there was a young gentleman, a 15-year-old, sitting at the dining room table. And he goes, I'd like to introduce you to my nephew. He's 15 years old. He has a master's degree from MIT in computer science. And we want to talk to you about a project. And I'm like, okay. And that's where my life started. And we started a company called idealrental.com. And it was a portal for renters and landlords because Mr. Marino was a landlord and he was frustrated, right? But about 6 months into it, we pivoted because we were too far behind. There was a lot of other companies that were doing rental portals at the time. We sat back and we said, what's the biggest problem in multifamily right now? And Mr. Marino had said, it's parcel packages, meaning FedEx, DHL, UPS. They can't deliver because nobody's home, or it's a real pain in the ass logistically and everything. So we pivoted into a company called ShopperBox, and we built the first ever unattended delivery station for UPS, FedEx, and DHL for multifamily. And so basically we ended up selling it and it became Amazon Locker. And that's kind of when my life took a lot of changes and we had a lot of investors and money and all this stuff. And I decided, okay, I'm not looking back. And so I started helping other entrepreneurs raise money, how to structure it. And then I got into real estate even deeper in the private world, which is private lending for real estate, for construction and development and whatnot. And I did that. I still do it today. And I've done about 75 to $100 million worth of real estate loans in the Pacific Northwest. And about 5 years ago, one of my mentors from ShopperBox came to me and said, hey, I've got this idea and I don't know where to take it, but the cell phone is going to be big. And that's how Swagger started. And basically it was a map and an avatar and a bunch of pins, and you went and collected stuff. It didn't have any AR yet, didn't have any AI, didn't have anything. It was just this bare bones system. And of course, the other founder, a guy named Craig Chellis, he said, look, if you can put the seed capital in, and I had a lot of money at the time, do all of the sweat equity. You won't have to do anything. Yeah, that never happens. So I wrote a check and we started and it was great. And we were doing well. And then COVID hit and he had to leave and pick up a job because, we couldn't afford it anymore. And I said, okay, I'll take over. And we weathered through COVID. And here we are today with a brand new product. Now I've put millions of dollars into it, and we've got big investors and whatnot. But we're using AI technology and augmented reality, and we're teamed up with Niantic, who built Pokemon Go. We've got brand agencies like Rakuten and a bunch of other big brands. And it's basically Pokemon Go, except instead of hunting for a Pikachu, you hunt for a free cup of coffee from Starbucks. And I have a real estate background. So when I say this is a very powerful statement, and some people don't like it. I own all the digital real estate. So when we're about to launch in the fall, we're going to relaunch in the fall when the kids go back to school. I don't need the permission of Texas Tech or University of Oregon or Harvard or any other college. If I want to drop content on Harvard Square, I just drop it. And then I use social media as my download acquisition strategy. Harvard has no clue, and I don't share the revenue with them. Harvard sent me a cease and desist letter right before COVID. And I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take my content down if you just give me 3% of your endowment. And I believe the endowment at the time was 90 billion or something. And now we're partners. Once the administration realizes I own that digital real estate, if I want to put a Pepsi offer on Bruin Walkway where 25,000 kids walk on every day, and UCLA has a multi-million-dollar contract with Coca-Cola, guess what? They can't stop me. Yeah. And so I have this leverage where I'm utilizing the leverage to launch at 400 universities nationwide. And the scalability of my product and the CRM that we've spent millions of dollars on keeps the competitors away from us. Imagine if you had 200 brands at 400 universities with 10,000 pins. That technology is patent pending right now, and you're not going to be able to manage that much content. You might be able to get there, but if you're at 400 schools and you need 5 people to manage each university, that's 2,000 employees. I can do it with 20 from one location. So we are relaunching in the fall. We're going to start at Division 1 schools, and then we'll go to Division 2. We've got some very interested people in the concert market, festival market. And the reason I built this is around this mission alone. And basically, when people gather in predictable locations, they become highly predictable in their consumer habits, social media habits, and mobile phone habits. So if I geo-fence an area where I know people are going to be at, I can drop content and the engagement becomes hyper. I'll give you an example. We did a beta test right before COVID in Boston. We did Harvard, MIT, BC, BU, and I think Northwestern. And I have a relationship with Saturday Night Live and NBC. And we're utilizing their content. I went to Saturday Night Live and said, hey, can you give me 2 VIP tickets and a path to meet Pink, the performer? And they said, yeah. And I did a scavenger hunt throughout the city of Boston, where I had a few thousand downloads just in that small area. And I sent a push notification to all 5,500 or whatever downloads and said, the first kid that can go find all 8 tokens this morning will win a live taping of Saturday Night Live and get to meet Pink, the performer. I had 2,200 students that Saturday morning running around trying to hunt for those 8 tokens. And the kid that won, we hadn't even launched at his school yet, but his buddy went to Harvard and said, download this, it's coming. And then, of course, COVID hit. Now we're kind of getting our stuff back together so that we can do a relaunch. And we're going to go aggressively with our investors, doing what I call a zombie launch. I'm not asking UCLA if I can have permission. I'll wait for them to come to me and say, let's partner. Because again, I don't need their permission. It's not their real estate.
And I think before we go and jump ahead of ourselves, can we rewind just a bit? For those people that aren't quite familiar with what Swagger is, could you go and break that down in some more detail?
Swagger is a augmented reality based gamification engagement platform. So basically, we use geolocation to identify where you're at. There's an avatar that you build when you're downloading the app. And there's a bunch of content and pins and tokens that you'll see on the map. And you navigate using your avatar and collect promotional content from the brand partners that we have. And that's how we generate the revenue, is through McDonald's and Rakuten and Expedia, et cetera. And it's a fun, engaging way to collect promotions from brands that you're already using.
And I think naturally the question that comes from that is, what problem are you solving with it?
Several. One, it's not intrusive. I mean, look at how many times you get hit on social media of stuff that you just don't want. You engage with the brand. Two, we're able to minimize cost. I don't know if you know what it costs to advertise on a college campus. I mean, if you're a bank and you've got a stadium, it's millions. Nike, Under Armour, Coca-Cola, all these brands, they do these $1 million contracts.
Mhm.
I don't have to do that. We charge like $500 a month per campus for each brand to come on to the platform and use the platform. Now, when you've got 100 brands paying $500 a month and you're at 400 schools, you're generating $250 million. And I only need 20 people in order to manage that back end because it's a digital platform.
So that's really bringing this opportunity down to the mid and even small size businesses.
Yep. I can bring in a local business and probably not charge them at all, is what we're thinking. Stan's Donuts, right? Because Chipotle can cover that cost because it's so inexpensive. And that's our goal. And then the other thing is we're able to keep that data and we're not sharing it. We'll share it so that you get a better experience, but we're not going to sell it. We want Chipotle to know what you like so that they can offer you something even more tailored with AI. But we're not going to sell it to Wall Street. Trust me, they call me every single day. Bank of America, we want that data. We want to know when they're graduating. We want to know if they're male or female. We want to know, nope, we're not going to do it. If we decided to do it at one point, we'd do something fun where we'd share the revenue with the client, which is the college student. And that would be beer money, right? Make a couple $100 a month for your beer money. Why not? But that's down the road. Right now, we're very stern. We're going to utilize the data that we're collecting to offer you a better experience because you're my client and we need to make sure that you are getting what you want, right? And the brand, Chipotle, needs to know that. So we're actually building AI components right now that will build promotional content for Chipotle. And I just say Chipotle because they were on my mind, where it'll just churn every month. And we can even go into where we're going to do personalized maps. You don't like what I like. So each map will be somewhat different inside of their promotional content.
Interesting. And can you go a bit deeper down into that? What would that experience look like for the consumer themselves?
I'll give you CBD and THC and mushroom and Delta 9 and all these different alternative to alcohol, I guess you can call it.
Mhm.
You got to be 21 in a lot of places, right? And if Sally's not 21, guess what? She doesn't see any of that content. But if we also know that Sally doesn't have a driver's license, she's not going to get an offer from State Farm on getting 50% off if you switch to State Farm. So we start building that data around your consumer habits, and we'll start offering you more targeted offers that are catered to your consumer habits.
And can you walk us through what this would look like for a college student?
Sure.
Download your app.
You download the app, and then a map opens up, and you can see there's all kinds of different things, tokens, and these pins. And inside of the pin, you'll see the logos of the different brands.
Mhm.
You walk up to we'll just call it a McDonald's pin, and let's just say it's a free Big Mac that is only lasting for an hour. All right. You walk up to it, you get into the kill zone. It'll send you a push notification that says, "Hey, John, do you want this McDonald's swag? It's a free Big Mac." If you hit yes on the push notification, then your camera opens up and then you hunt for a digital 3D image of a Big Mac inside of your camera. And that's the AR component. Like for Nike, we have original Jordan Nike shoes and they float inside of your camera. And when you find it, you tap it and it floats up and goes into your swag bag, which is a digital backpack that we've developed where you can share it with friends. You can upload it on social media. You can redeem it. You can save it. There's all kinds of components that you can do with it. And that's it. And then a scavenger hunt where you have to find multiple locations and grab tokens, and then you'll receive a bigger prize at the end. But when you have the right content relative to the consumer habit of the event, like a college or a Coachella or a Cleveland Browns game. You know what they're going to want. You drop it and it becomes hyper. And some of the KPIs, man, I've had to pull out the reports out of the back end of the computer because our investors didn't believe it. Like 47% click to action from a push notification, 47% of the time you send a push notification to our users, they click through it. That's crazy. Usually it's 3 because you know when they're there, you know their demographic, so you know what type of content to provide.
So what does this mean for the brands? How is this going to go and transform brand engagement, in your opinion?
I think, to be honest, we'll use AR as the new form of content delivery because you started off, it used to be newspaper back in really old days. Then it went radio, then it went television, then it went internet, then it went social media. I have built a new delivery platform for this content. It's going to be game changer because now you're going to be interacting. We're not going to be throwing things at you. You're going to be grabbing things and grabbing the things that you like, not having a banner ad on Facebook or a TikTok. This is you start the story. And then we just on top of it, new technologies. We'll keep on changing things. We'll add social media into the mix, or maybe you walk up to a Coca-Cola pen and you get something fairly big. Maybe, I don't know, but you go buy a Coke and you take a selfie with that product, hashtag Coca-Cola onto Instagram, and you're entered into a prize where we give away 50 trips to Cancun for spring break. And that would be provided by Coca-Cola or whoever. But yeah, we're going to deeply engage with you and you're going to run the show.
And I guess then my question becomes, how are you guys going to ensure that this stays as an opportunity that endures as compared to a quick fad?
It's about promotional content. In 2019, right before COVID, promotional content drove 750 billion in annual sales in America alone. So the content's there. We're just delivering it in a whole new way, right? It's not through an email. It's through gamification and AR and geolocation. So we have found a way to monetize an AR transaction. A lot of times, like I remember when I first saw AR, I was at Coachella and it was cool because I had angel wings on and there was an alligator that was, nobody made any money, right? We're the first AR component that actually has figured out a revenue model that is scalable so that we can become that billion-dollar valuation. That's our goal.
So in 2020, the global AR market was valued at 15.3 billion.
Yeah.
And right now, experts are projecting that it's going to grow to 88.4 billion by 2026.
Next year. 6 months. I mean,
Exactly.
it's crazy. Yeah.
So given that, how do you feel that Swagger is going to fit into that?
Well, we're the first to market. Go find another Pokemon Go transaction. And we've partnered with Niantic. We utilize Niantic's Lightship AR kit, and Niantic is the one that built Pokemon Go. They love what we're doing because we've taken that into a whole new realm. And look, Pokemon Go last year, 156 million in revenue with 11 city activations. We can murder that as we start growing and growing with companies like Rakuten. Rakuten has 2,700 brands that they provide promotional content already for. So we've got more content than we know what to do with. It's just a matter of how fast do we want to launch in August, and we'll figure it out.
So with that, what are some key outcomes that brands typically see after using Swagger? If I'm using Swagger in a campaign, what kind of data and insights am I getting?
So we're going to know what they do with that, with their data. Right? We're going to know who they share it with, when they redeem it. And on top of that, we'll layer, it's Sally. She's 19. She's from she's from South Carolina. She goes to USC. She's majoring in this. Here's her email address. We'll combine all that together and provide the data to build better content. We're not just going to sell it to Bank of America, right? But for Chipotle, who's paying us hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, we're going to give them access to that so they can get to know their customer even better and build a better promotion. And the better the promotion, on top of the gamification and the dopamine dump that they get from utilizing our platform, it's pretty exciting. And I wouldn't say it's negative dopamine. It's not like a drug, but you get a little dopamine dump
Right.
every time you grab a Starbucks coffee cup, Rowan Walkway. And the fact that nobody has seen it and we can build on top of it with AI components. I mean, every time a new technology comes out, guess what? We're adding because it's adding to the experience. It's not just AR and gamification and geolocation. Now it's AI and it's going to be something else. It's social media. We'll combine all that, but we are a delivery platform for promotional content, which 750 billion is what it produced right before COVID. So it's there and it's being ran through social media and email and television and radio, and it all sucks. And it's really expensive. We're not expensive because we're able to scale on a totally different level than a radio or a television.
So you've basically made it less expensive and more accessible for not just those big brands, but now we're looking at the medium and small size businesses.
I call that the Stand Donuts. Stan's Donuts can now get involved.
Awesome.
Yeah. And what that does is it makes it more organic. It doesn't feel like you're getting hammered by Target. Stan's Donuts is on there. Oh, he's down the street. So it does feel a little more organic, which I like.
And I would like that too, because that feels much more personalized for the person that's using the platform as well.
Yeah.
Because they know, yeah, I'm not just getting this from this big national corporation. I'm getting this from literally the guy next door.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then from there, you've not only made it more accessible, but you've also made it more effective.
Yep. I mean, the KPIs don't lie.
Mhm.
I mean, it's nuts. We had 34% download ratio at Harvard, BC, and BU in the first 30 days, I think. And all we did was do a campus ambassador program that the person that got the most downloads with a promotional code that they had won a year's worth of free pizza from Domino's, which was only $325. It was crazy. They were out running around, download the app, use my promo code because I get points. And we were giving out gift cards to Domino's, and Domino's was giving it to us. So this is a whole new way. And I hope that the administrations get on board because you're not going to stop us. And if you want to share the revenue, you're going to have to be a part of this. And I've noticed that the administrations and the big boys like Learfield and whatnot, they don't want this because they're happy not having any competition. But it's not even competition because we're so dirt cheap that I've got professionals coming in saying, you got to charge more. Okay, come work for us and do that for me. Because right now, $500 a month seems like it works. Because if you're doing $200 million a year with a 10x off of EBITDA, that's a couple $billion valuation.
And now you worked with some pretty impressive brands. You've worked with Apple, Ray-Ban, McDonald's. Can you share a campaign that you're particularly proud of?
Well, I'm very proud of the SNL campaign, Saturday Night Live. We've done Dunkin' Donuts, but we've also done big events too. Like we did Coachella last year. It wasn't awesome because we were still kind of COVID-y, right? But we did the Coca-Cola 600. We did the Monster Energy All-Star Race, multiple college campuses, all kinds of cool events. And it was very successful. Very proud of my team. We put together something that no one has ever seen. And we're too far ahead. Our stuff's built. We spent millions of dollars building this huge back end in order to engage and to get that price down. And so now it's just a matter of market grab. We're just going to go to as many campuses until someone tells us go away or there's a new owner. You know what I mean? And it's fun. My team is fun. I haven't met someone that hasn't gotten excited, whether they're an investor, a user, or a brand. It's just a matter of, who to reach at the brand. That's always been a difficult part is, who writes the check? You could spend 10 years at Target figuring that out. So that's always a challenge, but there's so much content that we've got 30 to 40, maybe even 50 brands already signed up. A lot of help from Rakuten because they kind of did a lot of the heavy lifting of getting those brands on. And we do some performance based and we do all kinds of crazy revenue streams. but we're generating revenue again. We were generating revenue before, and then COVID hit. There were 0 campuses open and 0 events in the world. So you could imagine I was a little nervous for a minute, but we pulled out of it. And now we're just going to go have some fun. Get to as many campuses as we can. We're talking to the NFL. We're talking to NASCAR again, F1, Universal Records. When people gather in that predictable location, that's where we want to be.
And now, obviously, with being so far ahead, there has to be some sort of misconceptions around this. So what are some common misconceptions that you think people have about AR and Swagger that you wish more people understood?
I think a lot of times you got this group of people in the startup community that they just follow the buzzword, right? And we didn't. We stuck with AR. And we're going to make a lot of money at it. We're going to let these students and these people engage with brands in a whole new way. And it's not been easy because a lot of people have said, oh, the new thing is AI and it's this and that. No, it's not. It just stick with one thing. And I've noticed that in the startup community, buzzword is what they call it, right? And AR is 2019. But no, it's still when you can make money with something like a technology like this that hasn't been able to make money unless building it as an agency, we're excited. And we've spent a lot of time, and I've got a lot of very key people on our board of directors. My COO was the original senior vice president of Amazon when Jeff took it public. He was the secretary of the company when they took it public. I've got Nike executives that are coming in. We've got the Class A team. And now we're working with different agencies. So we're excited.
Yeah, no, looks like you guys have some great talent and you guys have some great ideation.
Yeah.
Honestly, with that, I think that's a pretty good place to leave it off. There is one last question that I have for you, and that's because I end every single podcast episode with the exact same question, and that's moving away from the business stuff and getting more to you. So my question is to you, what's the most overrated piece of advice you've encountered recently?
Well, there's a few things. I'm going to give you a little bit of background that I wasn't sure if I was going to share or not. So I'm a combat disabled veteran and I lost both of my legs. I'm in the middle of recovery and it's been some of the most difficult transactions that I've ever dealt with. And when people say doing your own thing, it's important and whatnot, it's important when you do it at the right time. Being an entrepreneur, if you're all about making money, you might make some good money. You're going to die a lonely human. Take time to make sure that your family is there and you spend time with your family. I lost 2 brothers during COVID and lost my father many, many years ago. And I'm very, very successful. I'd give it all up. I'd give every single penny to have dinner with my old man. So yes, be ruthless, but maintain it and make sure that you understand what's important. A Ferrari's not important. It's fun, but family, friends, experiences, creating content, and making others feel safe. You feeling safe. Trust me, I lost both my legs. I spent 49 years with 2 legs. Now I got 0 legs, right? And I'm getting through it, and technology is great. And, I treat it as, oh my God, I get to walk on cool technology. But just, if you got a mom, hug your mom. If you got your dad, just hang out with them. Those are important. And if you've got children, make sure that you take care of them. You can always be a father, but not everyone can be a dad. So that's probably what I would say.
That was deep.
Yeah, thank you. Anyways, I really appreciate the time and I look forward to work with you in the future. Okay?
Yeah, it was awesome having you on, Greg.
Yeah. Take
Thanks.
care. Ciao. Yep.
Bye.
As we end today's episode of Making Martech, I'd like to thank all our listeners. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to share this and subscribe to our show so you don't miss the next one. I'm your host, Himnish Jindal, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.